How's everyone doing? Oh, come on, everyone stand up. Would you please stand up? You've all been sitting for a while. Stand up. As Chris said, we're almost done. You got to persevere through a few more. So I'm thrilled to be back here in Puerto Rico. I believe, Chris, is what, the fourth year consecutive that we've been here. And it's been really interesting because the whole time I've been here, I've been presenting GPO Plus. And with GPO Plus, when we started, it was just an idea. And then we moved into an operation. We moved from a developmental stage to operational stage company. And we were talking about what we were going to do. And then we were talking about what we're doing. And now I'm thrilled to announce that we've got a proven business model. We've never been more excited. Let's hop into this. So, got to do this for the attorneys. Give it up. Get it out of here. So here's the goals on the agenda for today. I want you to know, what does GPOX do? How do we make money? What are the opportunities for investors? And more importantly, and I got to be careful, my securities attorneys always tell me to be careful, how much money can investors potentially make? But here's what I really want you to focus in on. If you take away absolutely nothing from this presentation, please focus in on this. How do we go from where we are today at 500 stores to 1,000 stores to 5,000 stores? Again, how do we go from 5,000 stores to 1,000 stores to 5,000 stores? So who are we? Well, we are an AI-powered distributor. Well, what does that mean? Well, we deliver products to gas stations and convenience stores all throughout the Midwest and Southwest. We're currently in 10 states and growing. This is a fun chart. I said again, 500, 1,000, and 5,000 stores. Currently, here's where we're at today. We have 500 stores that we distribute to. We're doing about $1,000 a month, about $6 million gross annualized. We're gonna double that when we get to 1,000 stores. The other amazing thing about getting to 1,000 stores is we're cash flow positive. We're no longer burning cash as we are now at this stage of the company's growth. When we get there, that opens up a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities. But the real target for us is getting to 5,000 locations, doing $2,000 a month. Now, that might seem like a lot if we're doing 1,000 now, but some of our stores, not many, but some of our stores currently do more than $5,000 a month. That will really change the bell curve when you start looking at those numbers. And then our ultimate goal is to get to 20,000 locations. When we're there, we'll have more product categories that we're selling. We'll be generating more money per store per month, in this case, $3,000 on the low. That will give us $60 million in monthly revenues and $120 million annualized. So those are the numbers I want you to pay attention to. So let's talk about the distribution and how we get these products to these stores and what we do. So we do what's called DSD, which stands for direct-to-store delivery. What that means is, in lieu of just dropping off a pallet in the back of a store, now the onus is on a general manager or the owner to depalletize it, put it into inventory, stock the shelves, and reorder. We send our team out to all these stores. I went ahead. Can I go back? That's all right. We'll work through it. We send our drivers to all these stores every single week, and we immediately built some really cool whiz-bang technology that's called PRISM, which I'm going to get into. But we basically made it so that we could be completely GAAP compliant. Who knows what GAAP is? Okay, and we are a publicly traded company, and more specifically, who knows what ASC 606 means? Revenue recognition. So to combat that and make sure that we did everything the right way, we built out this amazing mobile app where we could take a before picture, we replenish all the products that sold, we take an after picture, and the manager signs off on it. So we satisfy all the needs for ASC 606. In these stores, we have arguably some of the best real estate in the market. We're right next to the counter in about 400 plus stores, about 441 locations on one side. On the other side, and that's our Feel Good Shop Plus, which is a curated product mix of all the alternative products from hemp and kratom, et cetera. On the other side, we have the nicotine shop. And I got to tell you, when we started in this industry, we were doing about $89,000 a month, a little over $1 million gross. Now we're on track for $6.3 million, and we're really excited about that. So can I get a round of applause from you guys? Thank you. It's been a lot of hard work. I'll give it all to the team. No, but when you look at what we're doing now, the Feel Good Shop Plus, which is where we started, only represents less than 8% of our total revenue. So that shows you, when you look at our model, how we can prove this thing out by adding new products and new product categories. And again, having that real estate right next to the cash register doesn't hurt. On our DSD model, so now the first thing we had to figure out is where we're going to sell the products, and we got that. Then the next one is, how do we get the products there? Well, we built what's called the DSD network. We call it our white glove service. And here's our distribution footprint currently today. Now, when I acquired this company, we had one distribution center here. Oh, God. One distribution center right here servicing this entire area. It was inefficient. We had to send drivers out with these big, huge box trucks completely filled to the gills with overnights, per diems, hotels, all these additional expenses. So we moved to what's called a traditional hub and spoke model that we call regional hubs and mini hubs. So now we've already made the capital investment and expenditures into our infrastructure. So as you can see, we have very good coverage, and we have new markets that we're going to be launching into. So now the main thing is the AI. Now, a lot of companies are just doing everything they can to stay there in AI, or you guys have seen it here with blockchain and crypto, just tokenize it and, see what happens. In our case, we're actually really using it. So when I told you about our initial whiz-bang technology called PRISM, right now it's a tech stack with 13 different technologies held together with glue and scotch tape, but it works. And we've had to completely hack the code. For those of you that know what I'm talking about, it's been really challenging because you fix one thing and two other things break. But I'm pleased to announce that about 60 days ago, a little bit longer, we started with the first line of code in the wireframes, and we're about 75 days out from launching the brand new PRISM that we own 100% of, which will save us a lot of money and give us the customization for our business to suit our needs, not an out of the box. So when you look at AI, well, how does that improve us? Well, we think we've got at least 25% efficiency based on utilizing AI. And we're using it for the obvious things: driver management, route management, inventory management. And the new one, since we're developing it, everything's native. So we'll be, any CFOs here, any PCAOB auditors, all of our technology will now integrate native into QuickBooks, which is going to be awesome for inventory and for sales. So we're going to do a lot of things, and we barely scraped the surface, and we're going to keep going with it. So now let's talk about how big the industry is. And I'll say, shame on me, I didn't do this due diligence before I bought the company that put me in this industry. So I'm going to ask you guys, how many gas stations and convenience stores do you think there are in the US right now? Take a guess, shout out numbers. 300,000. No, wrong. Next. 500,000. No, wrong. Next. 1.5. You're going the opposite direction. Cut that in half. Cut that down. There's over 150,000 gas stations and convenience stores in the US. It represents $859 billion in annualized revenue. But let's get rid of the motor and fuel sales and look at the in-store sales. That is a big number. $327.6 billion with a B. Again, $327.6 billion completely overlooked. And what's our target market? This is what we've learned over the last few years, why I challenged the team to get really, really good at DSD. We identified this target market that nobody's paying attention to. And the great big huge companies, your McLean, Hackney, Core-Mark, other companies that do DSD services, they don't want to compete for this space because they're not nimble enough. They can't go after these product categories. And I got news for you. With COVID, what happened was, especially in the rural areas, a lot of places, they increased their offering because they wanted to serve their customers. So they had new product categories, new things that they've never had before, and they were reaching out to any single distributor, whether it was PPE with all the mask and everything going on with COVID, but they had all these new distributors. Most of them were mom and pop, and most of them have no idea what they're doing, but it's highly fragmented, and that industry has experienced rapid growth. And to all the economists in here, what happens? We have an industry that's highly fragmented and experienced rapid growth. You have a massive consolidation period, and that's what we're hoping to participate in. We feel that this is probably a $50 billion opportunity that virtually no one is paying attention to. I'm just going to put this stuff up. Here's just some traction, some wins we've had, some press releases, but let me focus in on the important ones. Again, as I mentioned, when we got started, I bought my way into this company. We had a public vehicle, and then we bought a company called Betterment Retail Solutions out of Lubbock, Texas. Who's been to Lubbock, Texas? Any Texas Tech fans here? A couple. We had, as I mentioned, one distribution center servicing the entire area. So when we did that, we had to look at every aspect of the business and figure out how can we not only generate more revenue, but how can we become more efficient and bring our costs down. So the end result is this. In the last couple of years, we've increased our margins from 15%, almost doubled it to 28%. And that number is going to continue going up because the product categories that we have and the products that we're distributing are now starting to be products that we manufacture. And when we manufacture products, naturally, we're going to get the highest margin. So that's going to help our overall margin blend. We brought our costs down by 29%. We already had, and during a growth stage where we were increasing our infrastructure and investing heavily, we invested a little over $4.5 million into our infrastructure to build out the network. So we've had a lot of big wins. We're really excited about what the future holds and where we're going to be taking this thing. Other big milestones are this. What we've realized is we are not going to be sending people to Mars anytime soon. We're not revolutionizing the car industry. But what we are doing is we're taking legacy companies, legacy industries, turning them on their head, making them much more efficient. And hopefully, because we're so nimble and because we can get to market with strategies that nobody else can, we can move quicker, faster, and serve our clients much better than anybody else and help them serve their customers, which makes us an indispensable partner. So when you look at the opportunity now for us, I'm going to go back to this slide. As I mentioned, 500, 1,000, 5,000. Now, when you look at this slide, do you remember in the very beginning of this presentation, I said we had to do this, non-disclosure thing? Well, I'm going to do something I typically don't do because I don't like talking about, what ifs, but we're going to do a couple what ifs because I want you guys to know why I get out of bed every morning and why the team is working so hard. So just to remind you, here's those forward-looking statements again because we're going to have some fun. Get rid of those. So now what happens when we get to these numbers? Now again, these are very, very conservative numbers. And when we look at the multiples in the valuation, we use the very low multiple, which is 2.8 of gross revenue. Now when you look at the overall industry, it starts at 4, and if companies are doing really well, they have some great technology, or they're scaling very quickly, or they're doing something very unique like us, you can get almost double that, up to 8 times revenue, which is massive. So now using 2.8, which again is very conservative, and we have about 86 million shares issued and outstanding right now, I use these numbers, and this is where, just trust me on the math. I used 100 million shares, 120 million shares, and 150 million shares, so you could see some dilution because we are going to be raising capital. To pull off the 20,000 mark, we are going to need 45 million. But we're going to do the first tranche of 5 million, and that will get us to the 5,000. And when we get to the 5,000 stores, we're sitting with a beautiful valuation of 330, can someone else see that? My eyes aren't so good anymore. 336 million a year. And what's that stock price? Can someone yell it out? 280, up from 9 cents where we are today. So just so you know, we've been hand to mouth. We've been really, knifing out in the trenches. We've been really lean. We've been bootstrapping. And we've been just, doing everything we possibly can to add to the efficiencies of the company, and that includes personnel. So a lot of us wear, as most of you who have startups or early stage ventures, you're wearing a lot of hats. I think I might even filed a sexual harassment charge against myself the other day. I don't know, but we have to wear a lot of hats, and we have to learn these things. And along the way, we put together one hell of a team. We have a team that I have all the confidence in the world that can take us not only to the 20,000, because that's a milestone. We have bigger aspirations. Our goal and our mission is to be the largest DSD distributor in North America. That's our game plan, that's our goal. And I'm going to open up for any questions that you guys might have. But again, this is why I get up in the morning, because we believe that we can make this happen. And it's very feasible. We just spent the last 3 years proving it out. So any questions? Oh, come on. Yes, Jess. So the question is, what kind of products do we have? Great question. So when we got started, as I mentioned, we started with what's called the Feel Good Shop Plus, which is a display case that's set right next to the cash register in all these locations. Inside that is a curated product mix where we went out and we found the best in class, the best in breed brands, negotiated the best deals we possibly could to get the highest margins to our retail partners, gas stations and convenience stores. And since that time, we've added disposable nicotine vapes, which is our biggest product category by a long shot. Quit smoking, guys. Don't quit smoking. We need it for business. But this business represents 92% of our entire revenue. Now, my goal, because I have 500, I'm not exaggerating, like 500 Google alerts for every state, city, county that I'm in with hemp laws and kratom laws and all these other laws, there's no real science on how to stay on top of this stuff. So my point is this. I want to sell sunglasses and stuffed animals, and I don't want to sell things that require an ID and require me to be neurotic with all these Google alerts to maintain compliance. So as we continue going down this road, we're going to add more products and more product categories. They have to fit the mold. They have to be, have products that have a good sales velocity, a fast sales velocity, and also have high margins for ourselves and our retail partners. Yes, sir. So is the question, do we see ourselves moving into new markets? Oh, yeah, well, that's one of the other issues of why I want this to be, we don't want to get out of the space naturally. It's a great revenue model for us, right? I don't want to have to replace that revenue. But what we will do is we'll have that diversified down, and my goal is to have that be representative of less than 10% of our total revenues. So it's a pretty lofty goal, but again, we've already experienced some success by adding new products, and we add new products, we can see an immediate jump in sales. But to your question about the vapes, yeah, that's one of the neurotic things I'm doing. I've got Google alerts for cities that we sell in, counties that we sell in, states that we sell in, to look and see what laws are there. And it's specifically about flavored vapes. That's the big issue. And then, of course, packaging. We all got stung with that. We had some Texas issues. That's what I'm saying. This team, my senior team, has been through the ringer. We are battle-proven and battle-ready. I don't know if I answered your question, but we're going to continue looking at different markets in different areas, whether we're there or not, when we see opportunities. So if we onboard a new chain and they have stores in, let's say, Minnesota or Chicago, then we have to look at that on a case-by-case basis and see what compliant material we're going to have for that state, for that city, for that township. So that answers your question. Yes, sir. The question is, how has the stock been moving over the last year? We're trading around, floating around 10 cents a share. Great question. Here's the thing, just being brutally honest, as I always am. We didn't have the resources to go and build a business when we're already, bootstrapped, undercapitalized, understaffed, and have the ability to go and do, the public market awareness like I want to. Certainly events like this are helpful because we're able to speak to a large number of investors, and hopefully you guys will all become shareholders at some point in time because we are publicly traded, stock symbol GPOX. But we have a couple programs that we're going to be launching over the next probably 6 weeks. They're going to be very geared towards shareholders, and more specifically, we have an ambassador program that we're launching that is, I'm going to go on a limb and say it's probably going to revolutionize how public companies can get their word out there, and nobody's doing it. Clippers are doing it. They know how to do it for sure, but you're not seeing this in the financial world at all. And so when we put this program together and launch this, I think that we're going to have, a lot more exposure, and we have a lot of in-house things as well that we're doing. So we just assembled a team over the last few months where we're doing digital marketing, investor relations, shareholder success, and we're relying on AI. We're building out AI agents to do some of the mundane, everyday tasks. Not draft a press release, but approve somebody who signs up for our investor portal. So we're just now getting active in the market with our email database, and we put out, we do the bare minimum, 14 pieces of flair, because again, we haven't had the resources. Now that we have more of a team, and I personally have the bandwidth, I'm going to be doing a lot more of these types of events. If you go to our social media, please do. If you could scan that will take you to our website, and from our website you can see all the social media accounts. You're going to start to see a lot of content. We started seeding it with content about 8-9 weeks ago. So now there's a fair amount of content on our business, some of our key employees, learning about our business model, and anything else that we can do to help explain what we do, how we make money, and get the investment community involved in our company. Yes, sir. So the question is, you understand and are comfortable with the 500 stores we're in now, but what's our plan to get to 1,000 stores and then ultimately to 5,000 stores? Great question. So the first 1,000 stores I think we're going to do relatively easily. When you bring on and onboard a chain, you could be bringing on a chain that has 5 locations, that has 500 locations. And we have purposely not brought on chains because we wanted to really understand our business, and that's what we did for the last 3 years by getting the DSD model down. And so now as we move forward, we know exactly what not to do, and we have some really good ideas on how we can continue to scale that out. Notably is this. We will be doing an acquisitive growth strategy, of course. Every time we do an acquisition, we're doing something that's very accretive to the company at this stage. We're getting more products that we might not have access to, more stores in our store count, and some probably amazing people that we're going to get from a human capital standpoint that will stick with us. And so the acquisitive growth strategy is somehow, again, if we pick up another distributor that's doing 500 stores like us, we're at 1,000. And we don't have to lay out a tremendous amount of cash to do so. And these opportunities are everywhere. You have no idea. They're everywhere to find like single, mom and pop style like distributors all throughout the country. And they might have one warehouse, 7 trucks, and do $10 million a year on a 14% margin. And we know how to increase that margin, make them more efficient, plug it into our model, and convert them from just broadline, which is dropping stuff off, to DSD, which is actually the full service white glove. We're going to do that, and we're also going to be focusing in on, within our service area, strengthening our different service areas. Because since we've already made the capital expenditures to build out the warehouses and the regional hubs and mini hubs, now if we bring in another customer, we only need to add another van or 2 vans with a few more people. In some cases, we might get even more efficient, and instead of sending somebody an hour and a half away from their main hub to go service 20 stores, and then 20 stores in their main area, now we could do 40 stores in their main area and add another 20 stores in the other area, and that person can service 40. So we're going to be a heavy focus and a big capital expenditure and investment into sales, focusing on chains that have between 5 and 35 locations within our existing service area. And I think we're going to do fantastic with that. Any other questions, and how am I on time? Yes, sir. Great question. The question is similar to this gentleman's question. How how are we going to get to 1,000 stores and ultimately 5,000 stores? So beyond the acquisition and beyond the doubling down in sales, one of the things that we've done a very good job, and I got to give all this credit to Kiernan Nevitt, who's in charge of all of our products and vendor relations. She's built relationships with these vendors where they don't want to ship products. They would much rather have a distributor, like a partnership with a distributor like ourselves, but they don't really know who to go to because there's not many companies like us. So I think we're going to have a tremendous amount of success working with our existing vendors who might be in 20,000 or 50,000 locations and trying to find where we can carve off different distribution routes. That's another quick way where we could pick up 140 stores in Texas, 200 stores in Oklahoma, and rinse, repeat, and keep doing that. But we don't want to grow too quick. We all know what happens when that happens. So I hope I answered your question. Any other questions? Yes, sir. The question is, what percentage is our vape sales versus the rest of our sales? 92%. So our disposable nicotine vape is 92%, and it scares the shit out of me. The other 8% is everything from gift cards to hemp, kratom, and all the alternative products. So different product categories all combined into one represents about 8. New Triumph, yeah. So New Triumph is our nutraceutical line. We sell on all the major, marketplaces from like Facebook. Well, not Facebook, we can't do there, but Etsy. Amazon is one of our big partners. Macy's, also all the usual suspects. Quite frankly, we kind of took our eye off the ball on that over the last 18 months, focusing in on our core business. But we're getting ready to bring that back in. We do have great reviews, and we have amazing products. It's a full product line that are nutraceuticals and supplements from Herbarol, which is our flagship product, which is a natural alternative to Adderall, which works very well. To berberine. I'm missing a whole bunch. I think we have 14 SKUs in total. But that has not been a priority, but now it's going to be refocused on now. Because again, that was our most profitable aspect of our business when I bought it. We were doing probably 60,000 a month on average. Not big numbers. I'm not trying to blow this up, but out of that we were netting 20, 25 easily. And so we had some pretty good. We have the Herbarol in 4-packs, which is made for gas stations. So we do have that in some of our gas stations. Sure. The question is, what does attrition look like? So now, typically, when we sign up today, our business model has been working with national and regional chains. So Yesway, Allsups, Texas-born. When you get one customer, you typically get the whole chain, unless you're doing with a franchise or a franchisee model. But so when we onboard chains, we're going to most likely get most of the stores. Now, there are exceptions. In some cases, like if there's 12 stores in California, we might not service that if we don't have a regional hub or a mini hub. And we might not want to establish a mini hub because it won't pencil out for us. The attrition has been pretty much on our end, where we decide that there's a high theft in a particular store or area, or there's a myriad of different data points that we look at to make a decision if we want to stay in these locations. In some cases we pull it and we're not in there. Some cases we only have the feel-good shop, or in some cases we only have the nicotine. It just depends on a lot of different factors. So when there is an attrition, it's usually on our end, or it's Taos, New Mexico. It's a store where it's by itself. We hit that every other week. It just doesn't have the sales velocity to warrant doing weekly stops. But did that answer your question as well? So yeah, so we have some attrition usually by choice. And then when we bring on a chain, we try and service the whole chain when it's feasible. Anything else? I think I have like another 2 minutes if you guys have anything else. What's that? Oh, stock symbol. GPOX is our stock symbol. Please check us out. We haven't really done much in the way of stock promotion, as I mentioned to you guys, but we are getting started now. I come from the school of like telling you what we're doing or what we've done, not what we're going to do. And so there's a lot of that when you read our press releases and our shareholder updates. You can see that. And then just tune in. We're going to be doing a weekly newsletter called GPOX Pulse that's going to be kicking off in the next month or so. And that would be kind of like a collection of all the different things happening with GPO Plus and why you guys need to get involved. So thank you so much for all your time. Please come and see me if you have any questions. Thank you.